Okay, so everybody, so glad you're here. Welcome to the Healing Room. My name is Marcia Williams. I am a licensed therapist and I am a narcissistic abuse recovery coach. My mission in life is to help people to heal. So you have joined the Healing Room tonight, and every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be talking about a different topic every week. I will bring to you the most common questions that my clients, whether they're therapy clients, coaching clients, group participants, members of my Passage to Peace healing community, that you're welcome to join. If you just drop P2P in the chat, I'll be happy to share more information with you. But there's so much knowledge that is shared in groups and in the meetings that I have with people who are in the same position that you are, or that you may be in, whether you're in a relationship with a narcissist, whether that narcissist is a significant other, a sibling, a parent. It doesn't matter. We're all impacted the same by a narcissist. So the Healing Room is here for you, because there are burning questions that you have and that you may ruminate over. Why did this happen to me? Why wasn't I strong enough? Why didn't I see the signs? These questions come up in my practice every day. And I decided to create the Healing Room so that I could share it with anyone and everyone who just wants this hands-on information and an opportunity to interact. Drop your questions in the chat. If you have a burning question, I will be happy to add it to my list of questions to bring to the Healing Room every Monday night at 7. So tonight, our question of the night is, can a narcissist be both covert and overt? All right, so let's clear this up once and for all. I have run many groups for people who are just beginning to understand what narcissism is, what narcissistic abuse is, what they have been dealing with, what are the different manipulation tactics. All of these questions are just overflowing because we finally have a name for it. And I know narcissism and narcissistic abuse is just thrown out like water these days. But honestly, and I'm speaking from experience, because not only am I a licensed therapist for the past 22 years, but I also was married to a narcissist for 30 years. So I'm speaking from my own personal experience as well as professional when I say that this label helped me to realize that I was a victim. And I know we hate that word, but we also have to acknowledge that if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, then that is what you are experiencing, a victim of narcissistic abuse. As we are continuing to try to understand, what is your experience? What have you been experiencing? How have you been impacted by this relationship? One of the things that helps is for us to understand who this person is that we're married to, in a relationship with, or had been raised by. And so these questions help us to heal. We're not trying to flood social media with narcissism and narcissistic abuse and all of that. We're just trying to heal. So here in the Healing Room, it is safe to use that word, to use that term, because it's our experience and it validates our experience. And so do not be afraid to use it. If it resonates with you, then it is meant for you. Okay? So tonight, we're clearing it up. Can a narcissist be both covert and overt? The answer is yes. Plain and simple. Now, in my support groups, I have typically asked, how many of you think you're in a relationship with a covert narcissist? And for those of you here or listening to the Healing Room, drop it in the chat. If you think that you were or are in a relationship with a covert narcissist, drop covert in the chat. If you think you were or are in a relationship with an overt narcissist, drop overt in the chat. I'll say, for me, from my own experience of being married to a narcissist for 30 years, absolutely know for sure without a doubt that he is an overt narcissist. And the reason why I say that is because, as we know, the definition of an overt narcissist is loud, arrogant, and obvious control tactics, obvious manipulation by devaluing someone to make themselves superior, needing to be the life of the party and attention seeking. That is an overt at its core. That is an overt narcissist. The covert narcissists, they're a little sneakier. They're a little more reserved, passive aggressive. They're more likely to play the victim. That's more of a covert narcissist. But guess what? It doesn't mean that they can't be the opposite. It absolutely does not. All right. So that's what we're talking about tonight. People get confused because they've seen both the charm side and the cruel, just mean, just manipulative, just insidious side of this personality. So there's public praise and private punishment. Public praise and private punishment. And that's actually going to be my topic next week, which is why do they treat us different at home than how they portray themselves outside of the home. That's going to be my topic next week. But let's stay here tonight. We are talking about, can a narcissist be both overt and covert? And the answer is yes. I'm just going to give it to you just right off the bat. We're going to get deep into this, but right off the bat, the answer is yes. They do not have to be one or the other. And I've gotten so many questions about that in my practice that I really think that this is a topic that deserves so much more attention. As we are learning how to heal in the healing room from the devastating effects of narcissistic abuse, I talk about this all the time, and I didn't coin this. I heard this and I grabbed it because it meant so much to me, the 50-50 rule, and I share it with all my clients too. 50% of the time, we need to understand. We need to know, who is this person? What am I dealing with? The more we understand narcissism and narcissistic abuse, the more we are able to protect ourselves, because now we know, we're not living in confusion anymore, wondering if I'm the problem, wondering what did I do wrong? What could I say differently? How could I have said it differently? Maybe I should have said it at a different time. You can see I've played this game. Okay. I'm in your shoes. I don't just talk about it. I've lived it. And now I'm here bringing you with me into your healing journey to find your peace. 50%, we need to understand all that. The other 50% is, what is it about me? So it's not all about the narcissist, but tonight is the 50% that's about the narcissist. That's what we're doing tonight. Your therapy, your group, your group sessions that you may participate in, all the support you get, that you need to focus on you. And that's what I tell my clients. It's not all about them. Okay. Tonight it is. They are master manipulators, and there's not one particular display of personality that they stick to. It depends on their audience. It depends on who they are interacting with. So public praise and private punishment. On the outside, they're seen as charming and fun. And I love this topic because my mom, who's here tonight, I love that she says, well, he was so fun. He was fun. And he always made sure I had everything I needed. And we loved the same music. And he was just always a lot of fun. And he is. Absolutely. Public praise, private punishment. Keyword, private, because we're not going to share everything that happens in our relationship or in a marriage. Not only that, we're conditioned not only because of our own shame, but also because of what we are expected to talk about or not talk about, because remember, their image is everything to them. How they are perceived is everything to them. So we learn how to follow these rules. Here's the thing. The only thing that's consistent about a narcissist is manipulation. Plain and simple. The only thing that is consistent about a narcissist is manipulation. So, covert, overt, those two things are true. However, narcissists don't have just one type. They have masks, plural masks. They wear multiple masks, okay? So which one they wear depends entirely on who they are manipulating. And I promise you, even my dear mother was manipulated by a narcissist. Everyone is manipulated by a narcissist. And guess what? That's where flying monkeys come from. That's what flying monkeys is all about. They too are manipulated, being manipulated by the narcissist. No one is exempt. Okay. All right. So let's get into some specific talking points. If you're just now joining, we are talking about, can a narcissist be both overt and covert? And the answer is yes. They wear multiple masks. So this is a myth. The myth of either or absolutely does not exist in a narcissist. Now, can they be overt or covert? Yes. But can they be both? Yes, and they are, because it depends on who they are interacting with. It depends on their target. So yes, at church, they're going to act a certain way to gain respect, authority, superiority, attention at church. At work, depending on the work environment, they're going to gain respect and they're going to act accordingly to gain that respect as it is appropriate at work. Now, all narcissists aren't appropriate, so we're speaking generally. Okay. In their friend circle, they're going to act a certain way to gain respect, authority, and so on. And then obviously at home, they're going to show that private side. Remember earlier I said private punishment is because all the masks come off at home. And we are so fortunate not to receive who they really are. And remember, they didn't even show us who they really are or who they really were when we first met them. So we were manipulated from the very beginning. Now, of course, remember the other 50%? We ignored the signs, most likely. I know I did completely because I had my own agenda. What was your agenda? Ask yourself that. What was your agenda? We all have an agenda of some kind, whether it's a dream to be married with children, whether it's a dream to be, seen as, a happy, loving couple, not wanting to have to admit that you made a mistake. So you're just going to stick with it and do your best to make it work. Anyway, we all have an agenda. And so we may ignore the signs. Okay. But the point is that we too were manipulated. Okay, so most people think narcissists fit in just one box, but true narcissists are shape shifters. So they can be whatever they want to be, whoever they need to be to get what they want. Because remember, it's all about serving themselves, whatever they can do to be served mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, sexually, financially, it doesn't matter, legally. They're going to manipulate the legal system. They're going to manipulate the church and use spirituality as a way of making themselves superior. So all of these things are what we're experiencing in a relationship with a narcissist. And I've answered the question already, and I'm just going to keep saying it throughout this healing room session. They can be both. Please do not try to put them in a box. Please do not underestimate what a narcissist is capable of. They are shape shifters. They can be charming in public and play the martyr in private. Okay, they're experts at reading the room and becoming whatever gets them power in the form of attention, power in the form of respect, power in the form of being considered an expert or the best at what they do. My ex called himself the GOAT. Okay. And that's an overt narcissist for you. Okay. He called himself the GOAT. Okay. He said he was the greatest of all time. And so if he believed that, then he absolutely expects you to believe that. All right. So they are shapeshifters. If you've ever seen someone flip from being charming to cruel or mean or just something that was surprising to you for you to witness from that person. And maybe it was the narcissist. Maybe you got shocked one day when you were out and here they are just being so fun and exciting and everybody's happy. And then the next thing you know, they do something crazy devaluing to you. That happened to me one time. I was with my ex at a party, having a great time. Just, he's the life of the party. So you're always going to have fun. And out of nowhere, he looked over at me and said, "Oh, she's fine over there." Okay, where did that come from and why? Why did you feel a need to lower your mask and devalue me just in 2 seconds and then go back to being this amazing life of the party person? Leaving me wondering, like, what just happened? Remember that confusion that we experience with a narcissist? I mean, just out of nowhere. And I think we become so comfortable for them that they don't even realize that they're being devaluing or cruel, literally cruel. So that's just one of so many examples. But hey, I'm here to tell you that they can be both, literally just about simultaneously. They're experts. Let's talk about why is this so confusing. So remember, confusion is the cornerstone of narcissistic abuse, confusion, mental and emotional chaos. It is the cornerstone. It is the foundation of what you experience in a relationship with a narcissist. All right. So that confusion, again, like that night, just at this great party, we're looking like the happiest couple there. And he leans over and says, "Oh, look at her over there. She is fine. I wouldn't mind, I won't even give you those details that I endured that night." But what was I left with? What am I the problem? Is there something that makes, what am I doing wrong? Is it my dress? Is it my cologne? Is it my hairstyle? Did I not do something right? I'm immediately like wondering, how was he so easily distracted? What did I do? Because he wouldn't disrespect anyone else like this. And I take that back because he would. However, that's an overt narcissist. Now, a covert narcissist is absolutely going to appear just as charming in public. The covert narcissist is more passive aggressive. They're not going to come outright and be disrespectful in public. An overt narcissist will and does, and they see no lines, no filters, no nothing. But he also knew how to wrap it up because he had to keep a job. Thankfully, he had to, we're active in the church. Very appropriate. It's at home when it's safe for them to abuse outwardly, openly, mask down, mask off. We're going to talk about that next week in more detail in terms of why treat me like this? If you're showing me that you're able to be appropriate. Why not to me? That's next week. Okay, so now we're talking about why is this so confusing? Listen, your friends and family, my friends and family, except for my sister, she saw right through everything, thankfully. Friends and family only see the nice version. Friends and family only see the nice version, the acceptable version. When I let friends and family know that I was divorcing after 30 years, one person in particular cried. She cried. She was so upset that we were divorcing. And she said, "You two were just my hope. You were my hope for Black love. You were my hope, the epitome of a happy, loving couple. And you guys are what I looked up to." when I thought about the type of relationship I wanted. This is what friends and family are seeing on the outside. They have no idea what it looks like when the mask comes down. And listen, I'm not trying to make narcissists out to be monsters. Please do not hear me say that. There are moments of love. And sorry, I have to do air quotes around that because, anyway, that's another topic. Listen, you got to come every Monday night, 7 Eastern. You got to come. There's so many topics, so many questions for us to talk about. So I'm trying to stay focused. I'm trying. Okay. So that's what friends and family see. I mean, they just really felt that we modeled and exemplified a happy marriage, 30 years together. And we're so young. I'm 55 now. We divorced when 4 or 5 years ago. I met him when I was 17, married at 22, first child at 24. I mean, and normal ups and downs that any marriage has, but and I also learned how to play my part. Not that I was unhappy every moment of 30 years. I don't want to give that impression, and we're not here to bash the narcissist, but we're also going to call it what it is. Okay. So they gaslight you with, you're the only one who has an issue with me. You're the only one who sees what you see. Everybody else, I'm, great. This is where they're planting the seeds, because that's what we see too. No one else sees what we see behind closed doors. So we're left to try to validate our own experience. And it's not easy. It's not easy. And it leaves us in a constant state of confusion and wondering, is it me? What's wrong with me? So what's the mask that your narcissist wears in public versus behind closed doors? What's the mask that your narcissist wore or wears in public that you do not get the pleasure of at home? Is it respect? Is it companionship where you feel like you're partners? Is it appreciation? Is it love? What do you experience that's different, that if you told someone, they would be like, oh, no way. That just cannot be. I just can't see that. You must be. And we probably heard those words before. Okay, lastly, the truth. Let's break it down. A narcissist is a narcissist is a narcissist. Okay, bottom line, they don't have two personalities, most of them. But they do have one agenda, and that is control, period. To control their environment and to control everyone in it. Yep. He's, I think Shannon said he's the greatest guy everywhere we go. Absolutely. The life of the party everywhere we go. My own mother. Love you, Mom. I actually love that. That was my mother's experience. Thankfully, she was treated well and respected by him. But it just goes to show that we're not the only ones being manipulated. And so it creates a very isolating place because we don't want to badmouth them. We don't want to not be appreciative and all of these things. And we're protecting them. We're protecting them and we're enabling them. So they don't have two personalities, just one. They're a narcissist, period. And just really quick, side note to that, I'm not a doctor. Likely neither are you. If you are, that's great, but you're still not a doctor of your marriage or of your relationship. We don't need a formal diagnosis because this doesn't have to hold up in court, but it has to hold up in here and in here for me, for you. It validates your experience. So we don't need proof. Your proof is in your experience, in your heart, in your feelings. And when stuff resonates with you, it's because it's your reality. And that's all that matters is your reality. Okay? So what matters is not the label. It's the impact it's having on you. That's all that matters. Please, I feel so strongly about that. A lot of people don't like labels. That's fine. It's not for them. I do not want you to go back to your relationship and say, I just realized you're both an overt and a covert narcissist. That does you no good, but put you in the line of fire. Because if you've done anything close to that in the past and you've been told you're the narcissist, this is not for them. Your healing is for you. It is all about you. Okay? Be selfish. Selfish is good when it comes to healing. None of this is for anyone else to understand but you. All right, so covert and overt, they're just tools. They pick one that works best in the environment that they are in. Now, I can still say that my ex was 95% overt, 95%. And that's being generous. So sure, they can gravitate toward more one than the other, sure. But to answer the general question, they're not one or the other. They are whatever it takes to gain control, power, respect. So you don't need to diagnose, just recognize. Awareness is the key. Okay, what if the reality, here's Lynn's question. What if the reality that I know is not what the truth is? What if I saw things wrongly? Lynn, I love that you're asking that question because the answer is this. Your perception is your reality. And this is how we know we are being manipulated, is when we question whether our reality is true. Listen, that's what we do. And that's what narcissistic abuse, that's what manipulation does. It causes us to question our own reality. Lynn, you did not see things wrong. And if it helps, how did you feel? Our feelings don't lie. Our gut doesn't lie. We just don't listen to it. We ignore it. We minimize it. We justify it. We rationalize it. And all of these things that we've been conditioned to do. Your perception is your reality. And that's why I said it's not about a formal diagnosis. We don't need proof. We are not trying to convince anyone of our experience but ourselves. Literally, that is it. This is all that we are trying to prove is to ourselves what we experience, because no one else is going to be able to validate your experience but you. No one else. And so healing means allowing yourself to be aware of your experience and to learn how to trust your feelings. Trust your feelings. When you feel devalued, you are being devalued. When you feel disrespected, you're being disrespected. Period. Period. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. And that's a journey. That's a process. We don't just wake up one morning and say, okay, good, glad that's over. Whew. I believe me now. Oh, I'm so glad I'm right. No, it does not happen that way. It's a process that I had to go through. My sister's on here tonight. She will attest. I had to ask her when I was divorcing. I had to say, are you sure? I'm not sure that I need to divorce. I mean, maybe it wasn't that bad. Lynn, I was right where you are right now. What you're saying? I said the same thing. I asked myself the same question. Am I sure that was it really that bad? I mean, 30 years is a long time to just throw away. Maybe it wasn't all that bad. I mean, I made it this far. Maybe I'm just overreacting. This is what manipulation does. Because when I sat and thought long enough and wrote a book about it, this book was painful to write because I was able to be honest with myself. So it starts with being honest with ourselves first. That's the beginning of this healing journey, is accepting our truth, your truth, and no one else. has your experience, which makes, in your relationship, it makes it so isolating. And this is why I created Passage to Peace. If you drop P2P in the chat, please let me help you. Please go and drop P2P in the chat. Let me share some information with you. I created a program that is designed to bring survivors of narcissistic abuse together, to heal together, because this is how isolating it is. No one else has your experience in your relationship but you. But there are so many of us, myself included. When you are surrounded by other people who can say, yep, happened to me too. Yep, happened to me too. Just like I'm saying to Lynn, yes, I asked myself those same questions. What if I'm seeing things wrong? What if I'm making a big deal out of nothing? What if what I know is not true? But what you know is the truth. And that's the healing journey, is self-validation. So this is the kind of confusion that is exactly what keeps us stuck. And it's what kept me stuck, because I was more interested in focusing on when those things weren't happening so that I could feel safe for a minute, so I could just breathe for a minute. And then I would hold my breath when those things would happen again. And I just wanted it to be over so that I could breathe again. I just wanted to breathe. I like breathing. So why would I focus on the things that make me hold my breath? I want to breathe. That's what kept me going for 30 years, just when I could get my next breath. Okay? Those days are over. You deserve peace. You deserve safety, emotional safety, mental safety, physical safety, financial safety, spiritual safety. You deserve safety. You deserve peace. So P2P, my program that I created, Passage to Peace, it's a 7-week program. And I am hands-on. I'm in it with you because I've been in it. I've been in it. And now my mission for life is to take your hand and bring you with me. Let's walk this journey together. So if you're tired of trying to make sense of things, don't do it on your own, because you don't have to. So drop P2P in the chat. And I am happy to reach out to you and provide free consultation, more support. I do one-on-one coaching, and this program is very, very intensive, very intensive. All right, so as we end, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm just going to say this. They can be overt and they can be covert. They can wear 100 masks, but you only need one truth. And your truth is that you deserve peace. That's your truth, period. And the mere fact that we question whether or not I'm seeing things clearly or whether or not my reality is true, that is not peace. That is not a space of peace, and you deserve peace. I really appreciate you spending this time with me tonight, and I hope to see you again on a Monday night at 7:00 Eastern. I know that my 30 years married to an overt narcissist, divorced 4.5 years, was worth something. And it's this. It's being here with you, and it's being here for you. And my practice and everything I do is devoted to turning those 30 years into a blessing, not just for me, but for you. So let's heal together. Thank you so much for being here. Drop P2P in the chat. I'm happy to support you. I love you all. I wish you peace. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you. I feel like the bad guy sometimes. Why am I doing this? Absolutely. That is manipulation. A narcissist is attracted to an empathetic person, and we are way more likely to blame ourselves, way more likely to take the blame, way more likely to hold ourselves accountable. And they know that. So hang in there. You're not the bad guy. You're the one living in a reality that you cannot win against a narcissist. And that's why removing yourself from that environment is truly the ultimate goal, is finding the strength. That's the ultimate goal, is finding the strength to move forward and to detach from the trauma bond, which is another topic we'll talk about next week. Feel free to drop P2P in the chat. I'm happy to do free consultations and a host of other services that you'll find on my website. So I hope to see you next Monday, 7 p.m. Be well, everyone. Good night.